PatternMaker is a pattern making program, and with PatternMaker you can work in two ways. You can use a pre-designed garment collection, or you can draw all yourself your own pattern. First I will show you when you use a garment collection. I click on the icon macro, which will open all kinds of garment collections you have installed before. I'm looking now in the women one of Lena, the designer, and I'm opening a tailored jacket. I have some style options, out of which I can choose. Do I want a normal bust ease, a minimum, or a maximum? I want a normal bust ease. What is my jacket style? Single-breasted, double-breasted? You see the picture changing with the selection. At which point do I want to start the point of the lapel? Low, medium, or high? I choose the low one. What sleeve do I want? A one-piece sleeve, a two-piece sleeve, or a dropped sleeve? For a jacket, I choose the two-piece sleeve. What pocket style do I want? I have all kinds of pocket styles. I choose a patch pocket. In which way do I want the pocket? In which direction? Horizontal, slant to back, slant to front. Every time I can draw a new jacket. Do I want shoulder pads? Now the program is asking for a measurement table. You can save all your measurements in a table. In this way you don't have to type every time all your measurements. When you do not have saved your measurements already, then you skip the measurement table question and you can fill in here in this list all your measurements. You see a picture of the measurement and a short description how you should measure. You can fill in on your keyboard all your measurements. Then you have to fill in some custom measurements, for instance the length from waist, the pocket width, and do you want seam allowance. When I do not want seam allowance, I fill in 0. And here is your jacket, drawn with the measurements you filled in the table or in the list. And when the pattern is on the screen, you can print it out. And when you want to print it out, you do not want to print too many pages, so you turn on a page grid. Here you see all the pages that are going to be printed. When you want less pages, you can move patterns to a better place. And then you use one of the icons here on the left side, here the move. And for instance, I am going to move the pocket a little bit lower, so I do not use an extra paper. And when I want to print it out, I click on the print icon, and you get a print preview. Here you can see how many pages you need, 24, and you can also see that you have labels on every paper, you have a row and a column number on every paper, and also a file name. You can all select this if you want it. And when you say print, the printer is going to print all these pages in columns or in row. This is what you have chosen. Okay, but you can also change your pattern a little bit when it's drawn on the screen, because you want to change, you want to have a very different jacket. Then you have all kinds of features to change your pattern. You can move your pattern, you can rotate it, you can delete it, you can copy it, you can mirror it, you can cut it. Everything you do on paper you can do here on screen. For instance, you have a label and a color, and suppose you want the color a little bit wider or a little bit longer, then you can move points. First, I turn on the points, because points are the basis of the patterns. A pattern is drawn with many lines, and every start point of a line you see a blue cross. When you see a curve, then you always see a green cross, and it is the curve point. By moving these points, or deleting these points, or rotating these points, you can change the pattern. For instance, I want a color changed. I'm going to the points menu, I click on it, and I select Move Vertex. In this blue command bar, you can read all the questions the program is asking of you. For instance, the question now is select a point. So I can select the point that I want to change, to move, for instance. I select this point. When I'm done with selecting, I click on the right mouse and I choose Done Selecting. The next question is base point. From which point do I want to move the point? I want to move the point from the point itself, so I click on the point. And now when I move the mouse, you see that the color is changing. You can make it as long as you want or as low as you want. And you can also type in distances. When you want it, for instance, 3 centimeters wider, you type it in on the keyboard. And you type in first an R of relative, and then he is calculating from the selected point, and then you type in an X and a Y. The X is in left or right direction, and the Y is the bottom of to the top direction. First, the X. I am going to move the point 3 centimeters to the left. I type in -3. Left is minus. Then I type in a comma. And after that, I type in the Y. And I do not want it go up or down, so I type in 0. And after the 0, I type in Enter. This means I'm ready with the number. And you see that the color has become a little bit wider. When I move this one to here, you can see that it's become wider. I turn on a snap endpoint because I want to move them exactly on top of each other. And I say I want to start from this point, and I move it up to here. And now you see that this is wider than this. If I want this also wider, I can move also this point. I move this point, and I'm done selecting, and I type in R -3, 0, Enter. And now you see they are equally long. When I want to change the curve a little bit, I can move the curve point, but I think this is good so. What more can you do? I have a straight hemline. I want it curved. I can change a blue point into a corner point. And I say this point I want to change. And you see it has become a curve point. I can also turn a curve point into a straight point. For instance, this pocket has curved corners. I can make them straight. And when I zoom in, you can see that they have become straight. When I click on the N key, I have everything on screen.